Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Windshield Time, the podcast where we help you use your windshield time to turn learning into earning. I'm your host, Chris Elmore. Of course, Windshield Time is brought to you by the great folks at Service Excellence. Today on the podcast, once again, I am joined by Joe Bates, owner and proprietor of Northern Air in Minnesota. Today's topic is Ask Me Anything. Stay tuned. All right, Joe. AMA. Is that what the kids say, Alex? AMA? The kids also say sixes and sevens. What does that mean? Melissa, do you know? Do you know what sixes and sevens means when the kids say it?
It means so-so.
Average.
So, like, is that sixes and sevens out of 10? Let's go with that. So that's like a meh.
Yeah. It's kind of like, yeah.
Hey, a net promoter score, you want an 8 or above. So sixes and sevens are detractors.
Okay.
Or maybe sevens and eights are neutral. Sevens and eights are meh. Whatever. So on this episode, we're going to do question for question. I'm going to ask you a question, and then you're going to ask me a question. What do you think of that, Alex?
Okay.
Notice he said that's a new one, not that's a good one. He's reserving his
To
judgment.
be determined.
Did you get that?
We're suspending judgment.
You heard that, right? What's to see? You've seen this face many, many times. Okay. All right, Joe. First question. When I say a technician's job is to tell the story of the whole system at that moment in time and then explain to the customer what it's going to take to make it work the best, last the longest, be the safest, and be the most reliable, even if it means replacement, what do you think about that? Do you want me to repeat it?
No, I think that is that is the ultimate goal for the technician, and I think ultimately that's what the customer really wants to know.
Yeah. What about technicians who say, "Hey, my job is to fix it"?
Then I think the technician is shortchanging the customer, and they're not challenging themselves, and they're going to be 6-7.
Oh, I like what you did there. Okay. All right. So. Okay, I like it. Well, and yes, I concur with what you say. I agree with that. I like the way you put that. I always, when a technician says to me that my job is just to fix it, that's a problem for me because their job then hinges on the customer's permission. So what you're saying is if your job is to fix it and you go to a home and the customer says, don't fix it, you're not doing your job.
Yeah,
right?
That's good.
As a matter of fact, I told your guys that, I've told them at least twice, but I know I told them yesterday. Their job is to tell the story of the whole system at that moment in time and tell the customer what it's going to take to make it work the best, last the longest, be the safest, and be the most reliable, even if it means replacing it. I got a lot of, what did you say, kind of things, but then I explained it, and it was good. Okay, so now it's your turn to ask me a question.
If you could get an owner to do anything in their business, what is the top number one thing that you could say if you could just flip a switch in an owner's brain and whatever you told them to do would be what happens that instant, what would it be?
learn how to prioritize and delegate tasks.
And do you have, when you say prioritize and delegate tasks, are you talking about getting other people to do work for you, or?
Yeah. Prioritizing and delegating. So when we prioritize, so I have yet to meet an owner that doesn't have a list of 1,000 things they need to do.
Or more.
Or more. And the lists are really broken into two parts, but they get blended together. The first is, these are the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, every 6 months, annual things that I do as tasks. Okay. Then there's a list of projects. Okay. And so I firmly believe in a principle that Todd, he created it. Well, he labeled it and expanded on it, but it's in our Manager Series workbook. It's called ADD for productivity. Now, when you hear the acronym ADD, Alex, what do you think of? Okay, Alex says something that you need a pill for. This is why I want you mic'd, because people don't believe the words that come out of your mouth because I say them, and they don't believe that a human actually said those things. So that's why I want you to get mic'd out, Alex. Can you do that, please? Okay, he's going to get mic'd. So, but yeah, ADD, we think attention deficit disorder, or ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which disorder is in the name. And kind of the play on the acronym is ADD for productivity, because you would think if you have ADD, you're not very productive because you're all over the place, right? Well, the ADD in this case stands for automate, delegate, or destroy. Okay? So if we look at these two lists of, here's the task that I do in my role, in my wearing 50 hats maybe role, there's all these tasks that I have to do. And then there's this list of projects and things that need to get done that typically are a lot of one-off things. Once that happens, this happens. Most of the time, where we get to is automate. Okay, that's get the software to run a report for you or whatever. Great, we can automate that. Automate your financials to be sent to your business coach by the 15th of the month or whatever. Yeah, it's the 16th of some month. So the automating seems to be easy, but automating in itself typically generates a delegation point, a task you have to delegate. So obviously delegating, if there's something you're doing that you can give to someone else with minimal training, then we're going to delegate that. And then destroy, typically destroying something means you stop doing it, but there may be downstream communication or other things that have to go to backfill that thing. So that typically becomes a delegation. So what I want every owner doing is on a regular basis, they run this ADD check of everything they're doing as a regular repeating task, and a list of project items that may be one-offs. And I want them to go, what can I automate, delegate, or destroy? Okay, so let's say you get into that habit and then you start delegating. Well, then good leadership is delegating and following through. And so you have to learn about delegation. And if you're interested, we have something, and maybe on our website. I don't think it's on our website available because it's not ours. Credit to Michael Hyatt. He created the 5 levels of leadership, the 5 levels of delegation, and you can go online and find it. I'm sure. Definitely behind his paywall stuff, and there might be some free stuff out there. But it talks about the levels of delegation that people have, and from base level, which is, Joe, I'm going to give you this, but you're just the grunt. You don't think about it. You don't question it. You do exactly what I tell you. There's no thinking allowed, no creativity allowed, none of that. You're doing exactly what I say. I make all the decisions. That's it. You're just the grunt here. To level 5, which is, I don't even know I delegated it to you because I don't even know you're doing it because I don't want to know and don't need to know because you got it handled. And then all the levels in between. So if I could pick one thing for owners to do, that would be
that would be it.
Yeah. Learn how to delegate, prioritize and delegate.
I thought you would probably say something about balance sheets or something. So that's
I
good.
mean, that's important,
good.
getting numbers and things like that. But
Yeah,
again,
no,
once
that's a good, as I'm listening to you talk about it, I mean, that would free up some bandwidth.
I'm gonna let you guys in, and you heard it here. I'm gonna let you guys in on the secret. There's not many original new ideas in day-to-day life, if you think about it. Now, that's not me being a downer. Think about the revolutionary things or the things you come across that totally change your life, that totally change the way you do things.
Yeah.
Typically, if you think about the things you do, implementation of existing ideas and existing thoughts you've already had, taking action on those things is the game changer. Right?
Yeah. I would agree.
And so that's why action, delegation, doing these things, and follow through, that is why. Because most of the owners, and I've been coaching business owners and training for almost 26 years now. The number one thing is implementation. It's not some new idea. Now, there's times where you'll talk to a company and or a technician or whoever you're working with, and you'll tell them about an idea that's been around forever that they didn't know about. Okay, then it's going to seem new to them and that kind of thing. But they still have to take action. Even as a business coach, I can't do it for you. As a trainer, I can demonstrate the activity or whatever, but I can't do it for you. You got to do it, right? And so that's why that is centered around action. I love financials, and I love owners to know their financials. I think it's a critical first principle of business is to know your financial situation. But even financial statements, every number that appears there was caused by an action or an inaction or a modification of an existing action. So it's about doing.
Yeah.
That's why I say that.
Well, it's your turn.
Okay.
Sorry. I have a follow-up question.
Well, you can ask your follow-up question.
So when somebody, an owner in this particular instance, reaches that point where they decide to take action and they start the implementation, what have you seen as the biggest roadblock or hurdle or challenge once the implementation process starts that throws somebody off?
I would say that a hero complex. Trying to be the hero. And it kind of goes back to your core values a little bit. Humble, hungry, and smart. Okay? So have a plan and have that plan vetted by somebody else that's an expert or can give you advice on it. And then realize the parts of that plan that you can't do yourself. And then find good, talented people to help you do the things you can't do. That's usually what derails things.
Yeah.
So I would say that's probably the biggest thing that derails it. Is
Makes sense.
We get going, we get momentum, and then we hit a snag, and we feel like we got to be the one to solve the snag because we got to be the hero, and then that doesn't happen. And we struggle, and then, oh, well, this didn't work. Well, no, it didn't really get tried. So I would say that's it.
Yeah, fair.
All right. You mentioned press play. I'm not going to put you on the spot by asking you to recite. I'm going to give it to you. So press play. The 9 first principles or fundamental principles of in-home sales and service. Prepare, relationship building, evaluate with questions, settle anxiety, system diagnosis, prescriptions, labor, added value, your future. Okay? Which of those do you think is the most important to your team and why? Which of those is the most important on a call for your team members and why?
I'm only hesitating because I'm trying to think if there's one that isn't this. that would be the most important. But I would say off the top,
Well, no, you only get to choose one of the ones I named.
Yeah, but I'm trying
That's
to make
the rule.
Sure,
It's my
I'm making
show,
sure-
Joe.
I'm trying to make sure I answer this question correctly.
Okay. It's my podcast.
Yeah, okay. I'd say settle anxieties.
Why is that?
Because both people have anxiety about it, about the situation.
Yep.
You were anxious about your watch battery
Yeah, my
going
watch
down.
is dead. I hate that.
There's always anxiety in a situation, and I think that if number one, the technician can settle their own anxieties because they're following a process, and if they are following the process, then their anxiety should be relatively low because they know what to expect, they know how it's going to go, they know what the next step is, and it isn't all a memorized script, it's just how they do things. But the customer, especially from my perspective, is calling us because they're unsure of something, whether it's unsure how it's going to cost, when it's going to happen, what needs to be done, why did it happen, what kind of damage is being caused in the future, all of that. So if the technician can, or if our company, even just from the phone call,
Sure,
from the CSRs,
Press play exists for CSRs too.
right?
Settle anxieties, the same thing.
Yeah, so they see our name, we look like a nice company in our branding. They call, they get a friendly smile on the other side of the phone. Technician shows up. The whole step along the way is really just designed, I think, to help the customer understand and know that whatever has happened, we understand it. We're listening, we're empathizing, we're asking the questions, and then we're trying to provide the solution for them, or help them make the decision based on the options that we're able to provide them from the diagnostic. So at the end of the day, they may or may not choose us, but I think a customer whose anxieties have been settled and they've been had a good interaction with us, whether or not they chose us that day, it's going to leave a good positive impression in their mind.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to choose us. But if they don't, they won't hesitate trying us again in the future, or if they need to think about it and other people are going to come in, at least we left a good impression with them and we helped them. Our motto is nothing feels like Northern Air. So we want them to feel like at the end of the day that we took care of them in one way or another. So
Gotcha. I like settle anxieties because it provides clarity. If your technicians do what we recommend and train to in the home, we answer a lot of unspoken questions. And if you think about your anxiety in your own life, anxiety typically comes from these unspoken questions. And in a customer's mind, we've already talked about how when the technician arrives, when you get there, they're probably already in a negative mindset, right? They're anxious. What do they want to know? What are the unknowns, the unspoken, unanswered questions that they have that's causing them anxiety? Who is this person? Can they fix it? Is this going to cost me a lot of money? What's wrong? Is it catastrophic? Is it going to happen today? Or are we going to have heat? Are we going to have hot water? Are we going to have the power back on? Or what? All these things. Those are questions they have that they don't have the answer to. And when you don't have the answer, you're anxious. When my watch is dead, I'm anxious because, Joe, I need to know what the temperature is right now outside, right? I need to know how many calories do I have. See, I'm burning calories right now. I'm not getting credit.
Getting counted.
I'm not getting credit.
You're going to have to burn more calories later because you didn't count the calories
Dang
you
it.
burnt now.
But see, this is causing me a minor amount of anxiety, right? Because what if I'm getting notified and I don't know? That kind of thing. Yeah. So a customer, when you're in a home or when they call you for the first time and you're a call taker, those unanswered questions, that causes the anxiety. So what we're going to do is when we get there, when we're on the phone, we're going to settle anxieties in a particular way. We get in the home, we're going to settle anxieties by talking about, here's who I am. Here's how long I've been doing it. Here's how many homes I've been in. Here's how long the company's been around. Here's what we're known for. I'm going to go from that into here's what I'm going to do and how long it's going to take, and here's how you're going to know, and here's how we're going to handle pricing. Here's how we're going to handle the conversation. And yes, you're in control. I'm not going to do anything without your permission. I'm going to do all of that stuff in settle anxieties and that principle. And that is going to create clarity. It's going to set expectations that they didn't have. And it's going to reset expectations they had that were incorrect. And all of that is going to provide that settling of anxieties. The emotion level is going to come down. Trust and value are going to go up. And so, your turn.
Who can lift more, you or Todd?
Todd. Well, it depends. If it's powerlifting, Todd, far and away. Far and away.
I've seen some of his videos. I mean, the guy's like chains and
oh yeah, no doubt.
Looks like Rocky training in
no doubt
the deep snow.
I think if you got into Olympic lifting, clean and jerk, and snatch definitely going to be me because that's a mobility issue for Todd. But Todd is just raw power, man. He is strong. He's got good cardio. Put it this way, I wouldn't want him chasing me to wrestle me.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
But he does have 7 years on me too, so I just want to point that out. Whatever.
Yeah.
But Todd for sure.
Okay.
That's really it.
Yeah.
That's the only question.
What do you think? How do you think physical fitness impacts a technician's ability to serve the customer?
Oh wow, that's a good question. Thank you for asking it. That's a good question. You know, we've talked about that a little bit on here in the past. Alex, I don't think we've talked about this in your time frame, have we? So see, Joe's a natural. Yeah, we probably talked about burnout a little bit. Well, what I've discovered late in life, and Todd has been a great example of this. Todd is a great example of this, and he has been to me. In that, and I've always been told, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. I mean, that's something I've always heard. But you know, when you're a technician and you're running and gunning and, you know, busy season, whatever, and you're getting up super early and you're out in the cold, you're out in the heat, you're under people's houses or in their attics or in their basements, you're typically dealing with negative emotions all day. When you get done at the end of the day, you're drained. You're spent, usually. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not every day, right? But it's a lot of days. And what I found in my mental state is influenced by my physical state.
Yes.
And so, you know, back in the day, you know, when I was 25 and a service technician, you know, I weighed 135 pounds soaking wet with a vacuum pump in each hand, right? And of course, subsequently that wasn't the case anymore. And I had just limitless energy and stuff. And it's like, but just think about right now, most of you guys that are listening are probably 40 or younger. So know that what you're doing now with your body, if you are not taking care of it maintenance-wise, will have an additive effect, negative effect, and it will shorten your career. And if you're a person who thinks, you know what, I'm going to work for the rest of my life, I'm not going to retire, you know, your body may say different unless you take care of it now.
Yeah.
And so things like, if I was a technician today in the environment that I would be working in, I definitely would make sure I was hydrated. I would definitely make sure I was getting some sort of maintenance type of exercise and strength training, because that's going to help me with my bone density and my muscle mass, which is going to help me stay durable, right? So the more durable you are, the better you feel when you're doing stuff under load, you know, because all of us do stupid stuff. We all do stupid stuff.
Yeah, like carrying a water heater.
And hey, Bob, the OSHA guy that's listening or watching this, forget I said it. but we do stupid stuff, right? We carry too heavy things up a ladder, too meaning TOO, things that are too heavy up ladders. We lift things with our knees or with our back and not our knees or whatever the thing is. We don't wear our PPE. We all do stupid stuff. And I think it's important that we physically are able to do these things, right? And you look at, obviously, professional athletes are in physical things, but basketball players don't just play basketball to be ready to play basketball. They also do strength training and stretching and cardio and things like that to be able to play basketball better. Football players, the same way. Every professional athlete does the same thing. And so if you are not doing some sort of regular thing where you're doing cardio and stretch and strength at a maintenance level, and a maintenance level to me would be probably 30 minutes 3 times a week for cardio, light cardio and zone 2 stuff, and maybe a couple days a week doing some sort of strength training. And I realize that is more time. But owners out there, you probably got extra space. Get some equipment in there. Get some strength equipment. Subsidize a 24-hour fitness gym membership. I mean, they're $20 a month, maybe $10 a month in a lot of places. So those kind of things can facilitate that for technicians. But also, the biggest thing with technicians is how they eat.
Yeah.
So if you, and again, I'm not judging anybody. I'm just, the science is out there. If you smoke, if you drink a lot at night, if you drink a lot of sugar, if you're eating a lot of processed foods, if you're just grabbing meals on the go all the time, that is not going to lend itself to good body composition, and it's going to cause a lot of other problems, and it just gets worse as you get older. And so, however old you are, it's only going to get worse as you get older. So do something about it now, and it doesn't have to be a lot. Just I don't know, what would I say?
Well, I mean, if a guy's doing nothing,
do something.
Even if it's like, hey, if today I'm doing nothing and tomorrow I get up and I get on the stationary bike that's hanging, all the clothes are hanging off of in the basement, ride that for 10, 15 minutes. It's better than the 0 I did today, right? Well,
the saying is, running a mile is better than thinking about running a marathon. So, walking a quarter mile is better than thinking about running 10 miles, right? So just do something. Trade out a soda for an extra bottle of water. Have a protein shake. Get that sugary hit from that instead of a, 16-ounce Dr. Pepper or whatever. Even though, arguably, ice cold Dr. Pepper in the bottom of an ice water filled horse trough on a hot Texas day is probably the most refreshing thing on the planet. Alex, what do you think? Well, now I have to ask you what would be the most refreshing thing on the planet in those circumstances, Alex? Hot Texas day.
I gotta go with just straight cold ice water.
Straight cold ice water? Ice cold Dr. Pepper, bud. See, Joe, this is what I deal with.
I know. And he doesn't have a mic on yet.
And there's no mic. And he's had at least 4 episodes to get a mic on in there. Jeez. And we have a plethora of mics. We have enough mics to necessitate an entire rack for mics. What movie is that from, Alex? Wayne's World.
Can't do the same one twice.
Yes, I can. That's why it's tricky. So that's what I would say about physical fitness. And that's only because I did it wrong and I paid the price for it later in life. So, that's why meniscus in my left knee has been torn and repaired. The meniscus in my right knee's torn. And it wasn't because of long-term, it wasn't because of one traumatic thing. It was just long-term wear and tear of not wearing the right shoes and, carrying things wrong and kneeling down on hard concrete and dirt and whatever else over the years.
Stuff that goes with the job.
Stuff that goes with the job. And if I could go back, that's what I would change. And there's a certain level, I guess, of toughness that we have to to convey, but
Yeah.
nah, just take care of yourself, because when you get to be 60, you're going to wish that maybe you should have worn that back brace.
Yeah, I can remember kneeling down on the concrete, right straight on my knees on the concrete, and the journeyman would look over at me and be like, "You're going to feel that someday."
Yep.
Well, I feel it now, but at the time I was like, "Oh no, I'm good. I'm good."
Gotcha. Okay, is my turn? Did you just? Oh, you asked me about physical fitness.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you, at your company, incorporate technical training as a routine? Or do you?
We do. Technical training we incorporate in multiple ways. Our favorite is probably to bring in an outside person, like a water heater sales rep or somebody, to come in and go through the hows and the whats and the whys of the equipment and how it works, and then it gives the guys opportunity to ask questions and get their hands on the stuff. We have products installed in our shop that we have the guys physically
Kind of like
play
a lab.
with. I mean, it's not really. There's like parts and pieces of a lab. We're working on making it a little bit more sophisticated, but the stuff is there. I mean, they can poke around on it and
Take stuff apart.
put it back together. Gives them an opportunity to do that. We use video. We watch, videos from different manufacturers on specific products if it's something unique. And then the other piece that we do is we go out in the field with an experienced guy and a less experienced guy. We're gonna work on these today. Why don't we send, a good example is one of our technicians, David, wanted to work on boilers. So we did some boilers. We sent him to go work on the boilers, and you train him, in the field with an experienced person. Technical skills as far as the services that Service Excellence provides too. I think it's a technical skill to be able to know how to communicate and how to have conversations with customers, and how do you present options, and what do those look like. And
There's a podcast that talks all about that.
I bet there is.
I do this podcast called Windshield Time that talks all about that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's good that you built it in. Let me ask you this. Do you have an expectation that your techs gain technical knowledge on their own as well?
I have an expectation that they will gain some of that on their own. And we do talk about it because there's only so much that we can do throughout the week, throughout the day. I have that expectation because one of our values is that they're smart, and we look for technicians that do that.
Yeah.
So is it required? I guess not technically required, but you're not going to be a very good technician if the only place you learn is on the clock. And I think that's, a good reason why there's podcasts like this one. We can listen to podcasts, they can watch videos. It's fun when I come into work and many of our technicians are like, "Oh yeah, I've been watching videos on this," or I've been curious about that. One of the guys the other day said, I really want to learn more about these tankless water heaters we do. He's like, "Do you think we could do a training on it?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm sure." Yeah. He's like, "Well, I've watched all the videos, and this isn't stuff that we've told him to do or even suggested. It's just stuff that he's done on his own."
That's awesome.
So that's attractive. That's an attractive aspect of a technician, is when to an owner or to a company and even their team, because it's like, hey, yeah, I watched a video on that, or I've been reading this, that, or the other thing. I mean, we have some really smart guys, and they even read the manual once in a while. So
Really?
Yeah.
The manual is usually the thing that holds the trash bag open.
Yeah,
On
or
the job
some knee
site.
pads.
Knee pads, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really think that the expectation is, yes, you should be learning technical skills outside of work. I mean, that's just
Yeah, and I go to professional sports and I think about, of course, I understand the money is a lot different, but I don't think the mentality is different. So if you think about any star athlete you've ever heard a story of, what do they say? Well, I started here, and then I did this level, and then I did this level, and this level, and this level, and then I made it to the pros, and blah, blah, blah. But if you think about, like football is big here in Texas. I don't know if you know that, but you think about football, when you're a kid, you might play for your junior high, okay? And then you move up, you play for your JV team, and then you play maybe for your varsity team. And each level that you go up, the team is allowed more of your time for practice. And so the team practices, I think we start 2-a-days in August in most high schools, right? When it's 100 degrees outside in Texas. But we're doing 2-a-days, and you play. And I think the average football game, I don't know what it is in high school level, but in the pros, I think the average amount of action in a football game is like 17 or 18 minutes out of a 60 minutes on a running clock, right? So they practice, most NFL teams I've gathered practice, typically if they play on Sunday, they're off on Monday, they come in Tuesday for meetings, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they're prepping. There's a travel day in there or whatever, but they're prepping for the game and the team they're playing. In the off season, when they do OTAs and all that kind of stuff, it's 8 hours a day. And so for an hour of game clock time, okay, because there's 1 hour in a NFL football game, right? And if you add an hour prep ahead and an hour afterwards, so 3 hours, call it. Call it even 4 hours on a Saturday or a Sunday. Okay. How many hours of practice were put in during the week? Right? It's probably somewhere like 8-1.
Well, yeah.
I would guess. Right? So they practice 8 times more than they play. Right? And then I think of stories like, Tom Brady. People talked about Tom Brady being the GOAT, and it's hard to argue with that. I mean, the guy was in a Super Bowl 45% of his seasons, and he won 70% of his Super Bowls. Yeah, okay. That's pretty dang good, right? He was in 10, he won 7. He was a professional starter for 21 years. It's a pretty good record.
Yeah.
It's definitely not his physical assets, right?
No, yeah.
So what? Mental. And I just remember the stories of him talking about how some his other players would say, yeah, he would study each defensive player, not each defense. He would study each defensive player's strengths and weaknesses and watch game film all the time on the players that he was going to see that next weekend. And you look at it, and each level as you come up, you practice more and more and more, and you're practicing much more than you actually play in a game or game time. But with us in the trades, what do? You practice. If you're an apprentice, you're on the job, OTJ, on the job training, but the assumption is that you were learning by observing and assisting. You're not on the job training because you're the only one there and you're figuring it out. Right. So call it practice for 2-3 years in most places before you go out on your own, before you get in the game. And then out of a 40-hour work week, you're in the game in front of customers probably 30 hours maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
So you're in the game 30 hours. You got 10 other hours that might be prep or support time and all that kind of stuff. How many hours do you actually practice? In the case of if you have training twice a week. You practice 2 hours a week. And so what has to happen is there has to be a lot of personal knowledge and practice that happens, but that's not a habit for most people.
Right.
In any level of your business. But it's not the habit for most technicians, is practice. And so all this stuff we have to balance, being physically fit, being mentally aware and fit, and expanding our academic knowledge and expanding our practical experience. You know, all these things go into the life of a professional. At whatever you're a professional at, all of those elements are part of it. Now, if you're a professional athlete, and I saw, like, what does Shohei Ohtani make? Like $70 million a year, and then the Dodgers just signed some other guy from the Cubs. He's making, what, $60 million a year now for 4 years or something. And so, yeah, I understand that when you're getting in that level of money, then you can afford to pay people to do pretty much everything for you. So you can focus solely on your craft, whatever that may be. But in the real world, we can't do that. And so that's the whole work-life balance thing and the whole wheel of life balance thing that we got to do. And one of your questions was physical fitness. But we're also talking about mental, spiritual, family, social, all these things, financial. And so as an owner, you got to help your people do that, right? And so you facilitate training, you facilitate other programs.
Yeah.
As you said before on previous podcasts, you want to know, you want them to tell you what they need help with because you want to help. And I think at the end of the day, that well-balanced life is what everybody's chasing, right? And I think anything that you can do to help your people achieve that well-balanced life, and if you're listening to this right now, you need to figure out what that looks like for you. And don't wait until you're older before you figure it out like I did. Figure it out early. Figure it out early. Figure it out now of how to make that happen. So I think it was pretty good stuff, Joe. Alex, what do you think? Good AMA? We'll have to do these more.
Yeah.
Now, Alex, do you think it was a good thing?
That was the question to start.
And he said, well, it's a new thing.
Yeah.
So now, Alex, I'm coming back to you. Do you think it was a good thing?
Yeah, I think we went down some paths we weren't expecting.
Okay, so that's a qualified maybe. What he really said was 6s and 7s here, guys. That's really what he said.
6, 7.
6, 7. Yeah, somewhere in there. Meh. But you know what, Joe? Our rating counts, and ultimately mine counts because it's my podcast. And I thought this was excellent.
Like service excellence.
I like what you did there. Melissa, what did you think? See?
Excellent.
What's that from, Alex?
I do know.
What? Wayne's World. You finally got it. Okay. All right. Hope you enjoyed this AMA. Hope you enjoyed our time with Joe Bates of Northern Air. Great guy, great company. If you want to talk to me more, and why wouldn't you? It's Chris at Elmore at serveextra.com. And my phone number is 254-733-7109. Go to the website, www.serveextra.com, SERVEXTRA. Check out old episodes, previous episodes of the podcast. There's lots of cool stuff for download, lots of blog articles that will help you in the field with in-home sales and service to help you master these principles. Also, look for our next workshop series for technicians and salespeople. Also, like and share the podcast, leave us topic suggestions, and thanks as always for listening. But Joe, what do we do here at Service Excellence?
We turn learning into earning.
Very good. Bye, everybody.